Welcome back, Golden Flashes fans. It is time for Coach's Corner. It's brought to you by Bud Light. We're talking with the head man, Coach Sean Lewis, as we get ready for the Northern Illinois Huskies. And Coach, obviously we've talked at length about it, but a nice little mini bye. You've had 10 days, almost 2 weeks to prepare for this team, a chance to kind of rest up and get ready for two primetime games as this quirk in the schedule kind of flexes here in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. We kind of talked about it in the weekly press conference, to where we didn't necessarily need the bye, but we welcomed it, obviously, to get some guys back healthy. It's been great. The work that's been put in, by the young guys, get a chance to develop them, get healthy with the veterans that have played quite a bit of football already this year. And then to get into the Halloween weekend where we did the majority of our work, a lot of the mental preparation was done by that point. And then, it was really the Saturday, Sunday of Halloween weekend and into Monday as we really ramped up. And that was our normal Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, while everyone else was living their Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So that is the MACtion fun. Looking forward to it and excited for the opportunity on Wednesday against a really good Northern Illinois team.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Huskies. 4-0, last undefeated team in the MAC, but we know their accolades. They like to run the ball and they'd like to pressure on defense. The formula seems pretty straightforward from the numbers standpoint, but something tells me that the tape is far more complex.
Yeah, I mean, there's nuances to the scheme and the things that they're doing, but you kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, they like to dictate things at the line of scrimmage and run the ball offensively, and they got a big old offensive line that paves the way for a bunch of different backs that are very, very dangerous. And then they're very opportunistic about when they decide to run the quarterback. I believe he's got 4 or 5 rushing touchdowns himself. So it's going to be key there. It's going to be a big boy football game where the game's going to be won in the trenches, and we got to do a great job there on both sides of the ball. And then as you alluded to, defensively, they come off the bus pressuring. They're one of the most aggressive defenses that we've seen to date. They got a lot of different exotic fronts that kind of stress you out in different ways where you really got to be clued into how you're going to ID the fronts. And, that old Mike ID that you hear a lot about come draft time, do the quarterbacks have the ability, to ID the front, slide the protections the right way. Luckily, we got a really smart kid that's going to get us in some really good sets so that we can be protected, keep him upright, and hopefully be so opportunistic downfield in our own right and continue to breathe some life into our passing game.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, like you said, we know our guys with Dustin Crum, running game. Obviously, you guys want to dictate the pace with a team that wants, like you said, blitz when they get off the bus. Does your pace counteract the fact that you guys want to obviously run fast, not sub a ton, keep them on the field for as long as possible to where there's in 3rd, 4th, 5 downs as those drives kind of go on, those legs start to get a little heavier?
Yeah, I mean, I think every single week we go into it, and as we get into the games, people play us a little bit different, and we're going to see how they're going to, play us each week. These guys seem to have a couple different handful of pressures that they like to get to, and we'll have to see if they're going to hold true to form with that, or maybe because of our style of play, that menu of pressures, because of the way that we stress them out with tempo, maybe that menu gets a little bit smaller. So we got to see that. One of the things that we got to do a great job of is on 1st and 2nd down, make those 3rd downs really manageable, because a lot of these exotic pressures come on 3rd down. Coach Hammock, with his NFL background, they do a really nice job. And you can tell there's a little bit of an NFL influence in terms of they have these different sub packages. So they have a 3rd down package where a lot of this stuff comes into play, where certain guys are coming off, certain guys are coming in, and they're working to get after the quarterback. So if we can be successful on 1st and 2nd down and really stay in some of these 3rd and manageable situations and not so much these 3rd and obvious pass situations, I think that will help, protect and one of the things that we can control, right, in staying more manageable D&Ds, and we keep some of these exotic looks off the field because they become more mixed downs than just obvious pass downs.
Talk with the head coach, Sean Lewis. We're brought to you by Bud Light. And Coach, like you've always said for now 3+ years together, just stay on schedule. If you do your work on 1st and 2nd down, that makes the 3rd down all that much more. But more importantly, that first down allows you to, as you've been saying, allow Dustin to kind of drop it into 4th and 5th gear and let those ponies ride a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. We have to get the first down to get tempo going. Otherwise, there's no such thing as tempo, right? We create that stress because of our ability to get the first down, and our efficiency at getting that first down and not going 3 and out has been really well this year. That's kind of one of the things that came up in our mid-season kind of self-assessment, so to speak, and compared to years past. Our efficiency, our offensive efficiency has been good, has been solid. We've limited those 3-and-out moments, and it's allowed us to get into tempo. And because of that, the results have been a little bit better.
Well, one of my nerdy stats that I love to dive into for drives that are 4 or more plays, so you got to get a first down, 50 or more yards, and you've done it in 2 or under minutes for a scoring drive. You've got 13 touchdown drives of that sort. That's the most in the nation.
I like that. That's good. That's flash fast.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Northern Illinois offense. Obviously, the name Rocky Lombardi, that's their man under center. Fans might recognize his name from Michigan State and Big Ten play, but he's taken his talents to DeKalb and really 0-6 last year, now 4-0 in the MAC this year. He's kind of been a steadying force for what that team has become from last year to this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. It doesn't matter if it's a Pop Warner, high school, college, or pros. You need a quarterback, and he's got a lot of experience. He's been in a lot of battles, now at Northern Illinois and at his prior school at Michigan State. So him coming in, and he's really, a veteran, obviously, with his experience and the trips that he's taken around the college football world. I think he's really been a great leader for them in their locker room, because the majority of their locker room is pretty young, relatively young. A lot of the roster has been turned over, and Coach Hammock and his staff have done a great job identifying young talent. And they've supplemented that with guys like, Rocky Lombardo coming in and doing a good job and settling in. And, with that, he's done a great job, operating this offense. And when called upon, like he did last week against Central Michigan, when they got down a little bit, he was able to kick it into 4th gear in his own right and start slinging that thing around the yard and lead a great comeback and get a big time win on the road. So very dangerous team, lots of offensive weapons, and he does a great job steering the ship for them.
Obviously, the numbers that jump out are these are the top 2 rushing teams in the Mid-American Conference. But I look at, obviously, we know about our passing game, but their guys are right up near the top of the MAC in yards per catch, which means they're taking some shots and they're going to kind of body punch, and they're going to go for the haymaker over the top. Is that kind of do the numbers never lie in that kind of situation?
Yeah, I mean, they're very opportunistic, and again, they lean, and it starts with their run game. So they force you to commit numbers to the box, and then they take big play action shots downfield off of that. And they got guys that can run and dynamic talents that, whether they do take those big play action shots downfield or, in some of the quick game, they've turned that into, what, hey, should be catch, tackle, stay on schedule. Hey, it's 2nd and 5 to, hey, catch, miss tackle, and it's a 50-yard gain, right? Because of the playmakers that they have on the edge and because of the space that's being created, because of the defenders that you have to commit to the box to stop this potent rushing attack. So it's very dynamic. It's very challenging to prepare for. And again, that's why, we always talk about it. And Coach Hammock is of a similar background. He's got that Badger blood in him as well. And he's a former running back himself. Starts with the rushing game. And if you can win up front, you can dictate the line of scrimmage and you can run the football. It really opens up a lot of things, especially as we get later into the season, as the weather's changing. If you have the ability to run the ball and dictate the trenches, right, you can dictate a lot of things and really be in control of your destiny.
Right, because like they say, the run game never travels, it always travels, and it's basically more or less weatherproof, so to speak. So, Coach, from a defensive side of things, when you're attacking that scheme, is it again just coming down to the simple nature of, like you said, that a kind of assignment based football, hat on a hat, kind of figuring things out? We know that line is pretty stout, so that means the 2nd and 3rd line is going to be the first line of defense a lot of times going downhill.
Yeah, I mean, we got to do a great job communicating ID and formations, and we got to get 11 hats of the football. We got to play with great attitude and effort. It's going to be a physical game, and we got to welcome that physical fight and do a great job using our hands, tearing off blocks and getting the ball carrier down, right? Like, as simple as it is, this is going to be a big boy football game in the trenches on both sides. And the team that can win, in those trenches, again, they call it the trenches for a reason. You can dictate and win up front there. You're going to win the game in a lot of manners, in a lot of ways, in a lot of fashions, right? So we got to do that, and we got to take pride in that. And I know our guys are going to be ready to come and compete and give forth their best effort, and that will be plenty if we play with our hair on fire and get after that ball carrier.
Well, it promised to be an exciting matchup. It's 2 division leaders. It's on ESPN2. It's a Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. And let's just talk a little bit about the atmosphere that we need at Dick Stadium. And Coach, I'm going to take a second here. We're going to do a Andrew Hammond hot word for this week. If you say midweek MACtion to Andrew or you email it to him, 4 free tickets in general admission to Wednesday's game. So they got to watch the show, which we want, and then
absolutely.
obviously come out on Wednesday night. So just talk a little bit about the atmosphere and what fans can expect.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's been a tremendous change in our traditions and a tremendous change in our culture, is that our community and our student body and our university is behind us, and the energy and excitement that's been at Dick Stadium for every single one of our home games this year. I mean, we're really the pace car when it comes to attendance in the MAC, and that needs to continue. When you can't let midweek MACtion on a Wednesday slow us down, deter who we are. We need to be consistently good, not occasionally great as fans. And that includes midweek MACtion on a Wednesday. So come out, get your schoolwork done early. Know it's a school night, but we're going to be all right. That's why good Lord made caffeine the next day. All right, come on out, cheer loud, 4 quarters of fun, Flash Fast football. We need all Flash Fast Nation there with us for some midweek MACtion.
There we go. We said it multiple times. All you need to do is email our ticket man at Kent State Tickets at kent.edu. It's pretty simple when you think about it. And we'll get you some tickets to Wednesday night. We're talking happy hour as soon as doors open, food and drink specials. We've got stuff throughout the game. Plus, a 4-quarter fight, like you said, a pretty entertaining game out in between those white lines. Coach, thank you very much. One last question. I know it was an atypical Halloween weekend for you. Did you at least get a chance to do a little trick-or-treating with the family, or at the least I saw some a Halloween trick-or-treat type atmosphere at practice the one day?
Yeah, we did a little turf and treat, if you want to call it that. I think my wife coined that phrase over the weekend. So we had all the coaches' families come out and give a little trick-or-treat goodie bags to the players. And then I was actually able to sneak away, take off the whistle for a second and all the Kent State issued gear, and dressed up as a werewolf and got to go do a little bit of Halloween trick-or-treating with my little man. It was awesome. It was great. We didn't let a little rain deter our fun. And we went and got a nice little haul of candy over the weekend.
So you were a werewolf. He was a
skeleton.
There we go.
Mama was a vampire and baby girl was a Halloween witch. So all scary things that go bump in the night.
There we go. And Coach, so now obviously when you get home, you put the kids to bed, that bag of candy is going to be sitting there. So obviously some quality control needs to take place. What are we rating on the first few days?
Anything that's fruity and sour goes right to the dad tax. So Sour Patch Kids, much have. Big ups to the house that gave out the giant size lemon heads. Those were clutch. Stole a few of those. So those were that was taken, skimmed off the top. That's a little dad tax that you got to take. Just teaching life lessons all across the board.
Well, Coach, we'll let you get to it, and hopefully we're talking about a big midweek MACtion win on a few hours from now.
Yes, sir. Go Flashes.
Welcome back, Golden Flashes fans. It is time for Coach's Corner. Tonight it's brought to you by Hungry Howie's. All you have to do is mention the word Kent State on your next Hungry Howie's order. $2 off a pizza plus free crazy bread. We have got Matt Johnson. He coaches our running backs, joining us here for today's segment. And Coach, thank you very much for carving out some time during the midweek MACtion portion of the schedule.
Absolutely. Always time for some great MACtion talk.
Now, obviously, as a MACtion quarterback yourself, not trying to date you too much back to your BG days, from a player now as a coach, this weird kind of flex in the MAC schedule, great, take some getting used to, or just another game?
I think it takes some getting used to, because, your Saturdays become your Tuesdays, your Sundays are your Wednesdays, and the schedules and the days just kind of, it turns into Groundhog's Day. Like you're not really sure what day is which. But, we take a great approach here, and, today was Yes Thursday. And even though for the rest of the world, it's Monday, for us, it's Yes Thursday, and our guys are locked into that, and they understand the process and the fact that it still is a game week. Just because they moved it from Saturday to Wednesday, our process doesn't change.
Well, let's talk a little about that, Headman, because obviously you and Coach Lewis have a long storied relationship going back to your time as a player and him as a coordinator. So just kind of talk about how that relationship is kind of it evolved from your time as a player to now as a positional coach on his staff.
I mean, me and Coach Lou have always had a great relationship. Even when he was coaching the receivers, his first year at Bowling Green, we still had a really good relationship. And then obviously it really took off when he became, my position coach and the coordinator of our offense. And, he knew I always wanted to get into coaching. So there was a spot that opened up on his staff in 2017 at Syracuse. And he called and asked if I wanted it, because he knew that, that was eventually going to be my lifelong passion to get into coaching. And I told him that, the time was right for me, and I joined that staff. And, when he got the job here, he called me and, asked if I wanted to join the staff. And I learned a very valuable lesson that day. At least have a conversation with your wife. Don't just say yes, because I told him, all right, let's go. We're going to Kent. And then I told my wife, hey, we're leaving. And she was like, oh, are we? A very valuable lesson there today. You should at least, have a conversation with your wife and not just say yes right away. But no, I mean, I would follow him wherever. We've had a great relationship, and it continues to build and get stronger every year that, we're together.
Well, obviously, it may have been not the initial transition that you would have wanted, but everything obviously worked out for both the coaching life and the personal life for you, I would imagine.
Absolutely, 100%.
Well, you coach your running backs now, and obviously that is taking kind of the forefront of this unique flash fast offense. And I say that is when you hear of a fast break or a fast paced type of offense, you're thinking one that throws it all over the yard. You're thinking kind of those old Texas Tech teams with kind of slinging it all over the place. And that's not the case. You've got a stable of running backs, and I'll include even Dustin Crum in there off the RPOs. They really are kind of the straw that stirs the drink to this offense.
Yeah, I mean, we come in to each game, with a different philosophy. Sometimes it's run the ball early to open up the pass game. Sometimes it's throw the ball early to open up the run game. And like you said, when there's also a threat of Crum being able to run, that's a lot for defenses. Between Coop and X, they've kind of really taken over the show these past couple of weeks. They've done a great job. They're inseparable during practices. They really push each other. They have a great bond that continues to get stronger, and they know what the task at hand is. But like you said, with Crum being able to run as well, that's a lot for defenses to account for. And then when they do load the box, then we're able to take advantage with our shots on the edge. So, we're able to still play flash fast in the run game. And then when teams have to commit numbers to the box, and we can take our shots.
Well, Coach, talk a little bit about the selflessness of that room, like you said, because you mentioned two, but you've got a stable of, I'd say, 5 to 6 backs that on most teams they would be the guy. And
Nope.
and this is a group that just seems to be egging each other on, like you said, pushing each other to make them better. And each one of them offers something a little bit different that gives you guys kind of a unique kind of plug and play system.
Absolutely. The one stat that I'm really proud of is that, other than our true freshman running back who's redshirting this year, every single running back has scored this year, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, like you said, everybody offers a little bit something different. Coop can make anybody miss in a phone booth. If we get X out on the edge, he can run away from everybody. And then we have, Joe Sheem and Brian, who are bigger guys. And Daniel Bangura, when he gets his opportunities, is taking advantage. And they had like a 60-yard touchdown against VMI. But like you said, the selflessness of the room is what really drives that competition in there. And they push one another. They don't really need me to push them constantly, because they have each other that they're trying to outwork them while still having competitive excellence within that room. And it's just made for a great atmosphere. Look forward to coming to work every day because of that room. And, it carries from the practice field to game day.
Absolutely. And one thing I was kind of always look for is it's not one, like you said, it's not one guy. You got 3 guys in the top 20 in Mid-American Conference rushing. There are not too many teams across the country that could say that. So talk, like you said, a little bit more about that relationship, that bond in that room that is kind of built to where there is nobody sulking on the sidelines because their number's not getting called. It's instead cheering on their fellow running back and then asking the question, all right, coach, what do I need to do to be that guy?
Absolutely. I mean, it starts with practice. That's the way that we practice with, if it's one guy's drive, everybody else is standing there watching and taking mental reps. And then, as soon as one drive ends, the next guy, he goes in, he takes over, so that we're trying to get a game feel for, okay, hey, when it's your drive, unless you're absolutely gassed, it's yours. You're staying in there. You're going to take advantage of your opportunities. But, it goes also to like the communication on the sideline. Like every single one of them is locked in. They have questions during the game. They have questions at halftime. And it's not always from the guys that are getting the reps. So everybody's locked in because they know that, like you said, at any point in time, their number could be called and they need to be locked in for the game. Like, Brian Bradford was playing early and then hadn't gotten in the game for a little, for like 2 or 3 weeks. Then against Western Michigan, he comes in, provides a spark, and gets in the end zone. So, I mean, it could be any single one of them at any point in time in the game. And, that's the way that we practice. When it comes to meetings, there's competitiveness in our meeting room, because it's not just going to be a silent meeting. Like guys they're going to talk. They're going to show everybody in the room that everybody can have confidence in that guy that's on the field. Doesn't matter who it is.
We're talking with running backs coach Matt Johnson. Tonight's segment brought to you by Hungry Howie's, and the task at hand is the Northern Illinois Huskies. When you watch that game tape, what do they bring from a run stopping perspective that we need to be watching out for?
They are extremely big and they are extremely aggressive. They're a bunch of young guys that are very, very hungry. You can tell by the way that they play that they're very well coached. But they're gonna bring the fight to you. They are an aggressive style defense that they want to create a lot of one-on-one matchups. And, so far they've had success with that. And, if you don't bring your hard hat for this one, it's going to be a long day for you, because it doesn't matter who they're playing. They're pressuring, they're coming, it's coming. So you better lock up, because it's going to be a 4-quarter fight.
And then I'm not sure if you kind of look at obviously their big number is these are the top 2 rushing teams in the Mid-American Conference. When you kind of watch just overall Northern Illinois game tape on the flip side, what are they doing as a running backs coach? When you look at their run game, what kind of jumps out to you?
Well, I know that, with their style, I know that they, are going to have multiple running backs on the field. They're going to slow things down to keep our offense off the field. So it's a little bit of contrasting styles, but I know, Coach Hammock has been a running back coach. I know that they're getting coached extremely well. So it's going to come down to 2 rushing attacks that are really, really, really good at what they do. But, Wednesday night MACtion, anything could happen. We're expecting all these rushing yards, and, probably both teams are going to go out there and, throw for 500, and, who knows what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Anything can happen at MACtion, but no, I know that they're extremely coached on both sides of the ball. I know that the guys are really looking forward to the task. We've put a lot on their plates, and, to be honest, 10 days of just going against yourself, it feels like we're back at camp. Like, I know the guys are really hungry to get back out there and hit something other than the golden flashes.
Sure. I mean, the bye is nice because you get that little bit of a rest, but like you said, you're chomping at the bit to get back out there and play an actual game. Last one for you. We talked a little bit with Coach. Obviously, it was Halloween this past weekend. I know you guys were able to do a little bit of something. Coach, are you a big Halloween? Are you a big Halloween guy? Is it not for you? Did you go all out this weekend or no?
I love Halloween. My wife loves Christmas.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't dress up as anything like that, but eventually one day when we have kids, like, I'm really looking forward to being able to dress up and go like absolutely all out. Like, Coach Sobel absolutely stole the show. He dressed up as a wrestler. And I mean, like, there are pictures of him that's just amazing. I know a bunch of coaches on staff that have kids, got dressed up, and, I'm looking forward to that one day. But as long as we don't have any kids right now, like, I'm pretty sure my wife already has like Christmas decorations up now that Halloween's over. So, we're We are already transitioning in the Johnson household, unfortunately.
Well, is there a go-to candy for Halloween? Obviously now we're post Halloween, so that means everything's on clearance when you go to the store. So is there anything you're going to be swiping at 80-90% off?
I am a big Reese's Sticks guy.
Ooh, okay.
I love anything Reese's, but Reese's Sticks would be my go-to. And then you can never ever go wrong with just a regular traditional Hershey's milk chocolate bar. I mean, that's about as simple as it gets, but sometimes simple is really good.
Amen to that. Well, Coach, we'll let you put the final touches on this game plan. Get out and enjoy some midweek action and bring home a big W.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you.
Thank you again.